Hey gang, Ronan here. As you can see in this game, we've got Larry Ha playing the Tier 10 Imperial Japanese Navy destroyer Shimakaze. And this game, why am I showing you this game? Well, I'm showing you this game because it is, at least in my opinion, something of a unicorn. And by that I mean very, very rare. Now, why do I say that? Well, to learn more about why I call this game a unicorn, take a look at the minimap. And you'll notice the blue circle around Larry's ship. It's a big circle. And you can see that on the outside edge there, kind of at the very edge of where he's got his little pie-shaped wedge, it says 20. And that is because Larry is using the 20-kilometer range torpedoes on the Shimakaze. Now, these are rarely used, at least in my experience. And the primary reason for that is because the torpedoes are detected from 2.5 kilometers away. Now, if you were unaware, torpedoes have a detection distance, and each torpedo is a little bit different. If you can see a torpedo from 2.5 kilometers away, and it's not moving especially quickly, that gives you a lot more time to avoid getting hit by it. We'll contrast that with, say, the Pan-European destroyer Holland. Now, those torpedoes move really, really quickly. I'm looking it up right now to give you some comparison. And it's actually possible, although I'm not going to do it here, to determine how much time somebody has, more or less, to avoid a torpedo based on its speed, the speed of your ship, etc. Now, the Holland, those torpedoes, they move at a base speed of 86 knots, which is, well, that's pretty darn quick. And most people, when they are playing the Holland, have the torpedoes running faster than that, right? Now we're going to contrast that with the speed of the Shimakaze torpedoes, which I've just pulled up here. And the speed of the Shimakaze torpedo is 62 knots. So it's really not hard to see. Now, and that's the 62 knots is one of three different options, right? There's on the Shimakaze, you have three different torpedo options. You can have an 8-kilometer range, and the base speed on those is considerably faster, with 76 knots. And then there's a what's called the Type 93, which is a 12-kilometer range and has a torpedo speed base speed of 67. And then these 20-kilometer that have a 62 knot speed. So it's really not hard to see that you're going to have a lot more time to avoid a 20-kilometer slower torpedo. Now, Larry had a lot of patience there and put those torpedoes out in that gap. ZF6, his teammate, able to secure the Charlie cap, while the team over at Alpha have secured that cap as well. I would probably slow down a little bit here and put a couple rounds into the side of that Regulo. And it looks like, well, Larry's not slowing down. He does get a shot away. And lands 2 shells, doesn't do much damage. And I think right here I would probably have switched to the torpedo reticule. If you don't know, when you have the guns active, either HE, AP, or even SAP, and the player of the ship you have targeted is using a particular commander skill, which is very commonly used, they know they're targeted. If you have the torpedo reticule active, like Larry does now, they don't know that they're targeted. And JB's not moving at all, so Larry has put the torpedoes in well, he spread them out a little bit, but not a lot, and I think that was really smart. He's going to need to land, well, now at least 3, right? I mean, JB has a little bit of torpedo reduction in the belt, is healing, but I think 3 will probably do the trick. And Larry is going to apparently try and turn around rather than go behind the island, which I think is probably a really good idea. Ran just a little bit farther north maybe than he intended, and his team now loses sight of JB. And as he moves south again, that's 1, 2, and 3 to finish him off. And that's 36,505 damage on 3 torpedo hits. Pretty strong. And finishes off the Jean Bar. Now both teams are down 1 ship. Good guys are down Gdansk, and the red team is down the Jean Bar that Larry just sent to the bottom. Now here's the thing about those 20 kilometers torpedoes. Looks like Montana wasn't thinking at all about the possibility of having to deal with torpedoes until right about now. He still has 2.5 kilometers to look at them, but he was so focused on where he was shooting that he waited a little too long, and as a result, he's going to eat a couple of torpedoes. Remember what I was saying earlier about a unicorn? That does not happen very often. Now Moskva pushes into this gap. I think Moskva really should be firing AG now, and he is. Now, one of the things you can do if you're playing any torpedo destroyer is when you've hit a ship with torpedoes and it has flooded, and then you see that it is no longer taking damage, that means the battleship or cruiser that you had, or destroyer for that matter, use their damage control. And that means shortly after they've used their damage control, there's a cooldown period before they can do that again. And that means if someone catches their ship on fire, it will burn for quite a while. Now, that number is going to be different based on whether you're a cruiser or what type of cruiser or a destroyer or battleship. But I generally, when I land a torpedo and I can tell that the ship that I hit, the player decided to use the damage control, I will very often tell my teammates. I will ping the ship and say he DC'd. And then people know that they can do that. They can set fires that are what are called perma-fires that will burn for quite a while and continue to do damage. Now the torpedoes are back up. That take 114.8 seconds, and Larry decides he's going to just fill that whole gap there with torpedoes. And he is right now just outside of hydro range of the Smolensk, but he's close enough that when he fires, the smoke there is not enough. So he's going to slow down, get in the smoke, and he's going to put a shot on the Fletcher, a little too high and also a little too far out, as Fletcher got stuck on the rocks there briefly. Still too high. And now it's time to switch to the Smolensk. Smolensk may be hydroed up, but it's not going to help him here. And one more volley, just kind of where you know the ship has to be. And that's kill number 2. Now, what is the Montana going to do out there? Now, here come some torpedoes. Are these Fletcher torpedoes? Are they Smolensk torpedoes? Ooh, a nice wide gap. Did the Fletcher use a wide spread? Well, he might have caught Larry if he hadn't, but did you see what I saw? Look where that torpedo is, and look where the Montana is. 9-pin may have been a little too focused again on where he was shooting and avoiding incoming fire, and he eats another torpedo. Well, that puts Larry at 101,469 damage, and he's got the torpedoes back up in 15 seconds. Now we know Good Blue was last at Echo 4, so it's probably a good idea to expect that he and or Friesland, Regalo, or Fletcher are at Bravo. You can see Johan de Witt is beginning to move that way. Moskva is still kind of stuck on the island. He's actually reversing, and he's liable to be a little while until he can be any real help. Now there's the Friesland. He's way over there, just north of the Alpha Cap. But Gunlu is right there in the Bravo Cap working to secure it. And Larry says, you know what, I have a little something for you. I think I probably would have spread these torpedoes out a little bit more, and at least one is going to hit this island. But you never know what might happen. Almost within gun range, the Montana is burning. What is Guten Lu going to do? He's squaring off right now with Johan de Witt. Johan de Witt looks like he's going to faceplant into that island. And Montana may offer an opportunity for kill number 3 if he runs behind that island. But we'll see. 70 seconds until the torpedoes are back up. So whatever Larry's going to do in the short term, it's going to be with guns. And we'll see what these torpedoes do. He spread them out actually pretty nicely. They're covering a really nice wide area. And somebody smoked up that cruiser, so he may be feeling pretty confident right now. Now, Montana has healed up a bit. He's got almost 23,000 HP again. And Larry says, you know what, I'm not done with you yet, 9-pin, 6977. And the torpedoes are inching their way at a slow crawl into that cap circle. Will they connect? They do. Shimakaze catches the Fletcher and the Guten Lu. Yeah, remember what I said. This is a unicorn game. And that's kills number 3 and 4, ladies and gentlemen. And we're at 114,046 damage. Torpedoes up in 6 seconds. And Zhao pushing right in to this trap. Yeah, one more way out there. There we are. Now turn to starboard. Detected, but he did throw the first 2 well short. And it's only going to take 1 to hit. Looks like Zhao avoided all the torpedoes. Nicely done, Zhao player. And Larry is trying like mad to get a fire started on the Montana. But one thing that Larry forgot about is that Zhao has hydro. Yeah, don't want to forget about things like that. Now the Zhao has a long reload, and the Moskva is able to get guns on him now. But if this doesn't, shooting way over the top there. If this doesn't go well for Larry, like, you know, if he face plants into the island, you might have every right to expect, which apparently Larry just did, that this is over for Larry. But Patria finishes off Zhao. Johan de Witt finishes off Hayate. And torpedoes are back up in 20 seconds. Oh man, and here comes Satsuma. Oh, Larry, you are hanging on by the skin of your teeth now, buddy. But there's definitely an opportunity here. Autocon X-115, he's just moving right ahead. And here come your torpedoes. Ladies and gentlemen, the unicorn moment fast approaches. Larry, you played a good game, man. You really did. It's not easy to use these torpedoes to good effect, at least not for me. But I have to say that other than the, we'll call it the unlucky blunder of forgetting about the hydro on the Zhao, really solid game. I guess it doesn't really matter that Satsuma knows you're here at this point. There's no way a Satsuma turns and avoids your torpedoes. Those of you joining me, I hope you enjoyed seeing this unicorn moment. I certainly did. I love watching this replay. And I want to say thanks to Larry for sending it in, because it doesn't happen often that you see a Kraken unleashed with 20-kilometer Shimakaze torpedoes. Just doesn't happen that often. And here are the final results. The Kraken, 12 torpedo hits, 55 shots on target, which I love that he was using the guns. Johan de Witt, well played as well, 2139 base XP, 1997 base XP for our hero Larry. and he put shells and or torpedoes on a lot of ships. Really well played game. Those of you joining me, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.